I'm not going to see shit because I'm going to have the script up. So if you need me to do something, just tell me. Okay. Yeah, I just got to notice on my computer. Wow. So do I go now? Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Slack's Back. My name is Sean Slack. It's been a while. We appreciate you guys tuning back in. We had some technical issues, getting worked out. One of the things that we do is we're actually bouncing a signal and transmitting from Birmingham, Alabama, through down to South America into Sao Paulo, Brazil. So sometimes it's a little tricky when you're bouncing that and thrusting it into the YouTube channel, but I think we got things squared away, and we're real excited. We're not going to have any kind of an intro or anything tonight so we can get right to it. So, once again, our first guest is going to be Paula Chiarotti, desculpa, Brazilian who hails from Brasilia, which is the capital of Brazil. In 2015, she was invited to be a part of the director's board for Tubarões de Cerrado, which is a Brazilian American football team here in Brazil, and obviously, and an American team. And she was the events director, got upgraded to marketing and communications, and ended up taking on the team's presidency in early 2020. She went on to play a couple of years for the Brasilia Pilots as a defensive end, primarily, which is a women's American football team, and then part of the WFLA, which is the new Women's Professional League Association, which kicks off next year in the United States in May of 2021. But she heard of that in late 2019, but didn't think she would have a chance to participate until she saw the online combines that they were doing. And she decided to send in her footage and pled her case to every team. Got some good interviews, talked to a lot of different teams, but fell in love with the Red Tails in Phoenix, where she is now. And she's really excited to be there and really excited for next year. So let's take a quick look at Paula Chiarotti. All right, so we finally made it back, Paula. I know we had a lot of issues last week, but man, it's really good to have you back on the show. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And yes, we had a lot of issues, but here we are again. That's life. Let's do this.
Yeah, before we even get into it, tell us a little bit about your tan. You got some color. Looks like you're having a little good time right now. Where are you at right now? What are you doing?
I'm actually at the beach. I'm at my family's house in Sao Paulo, at the beach in Sao Paulo. I'm helping out my mom with some renovations here. Was just chopping up some trees in the backyard today, and that's why I got this tan because that's what I do. I'm not chilling at the beach. I'm doing gardening and lumberjacking.
Nice. Well, that's a good workout for football. Builds up the arms and gets you ready for some swim moves and rips. So even if you're
Who
doing the
needs
light work,
CrossFit? Who needs
that's right.
CrossFit? That's just get in my backyard. Yeah.
That's it. Well, we're only a few months away from you, kicking off with your first professional American football training camp, and we talked back in June, about 6 months ago, about your emotions surrounding, the beginning of your first season in the WFLA. Now you're even closer. You're basically a couple months out from starting, your first training camp. Kind of talk about your emotions now as we keep inching closer and closer to the beginning of your first season.
Okay. Well, when we talked the first time, it was all very new, and it was all like flashy lights and the dreams and the expectations. And what I felt the most was the pressure that I've put on myself and the doubts of, was I going to be able to make it? I was looking at the girls that were getting drafted. I was looking at their heights, their weights, their highlights, and I'm like, I need to step my game up. Will I be able to do that so that I can match these amazing women that are playing next to me?
Sure.
And once that phase ended, the place I am right now, seeing everything I've learned, everything I've evolved, the weight I put in, how I did it, my discipline, everything, I just want to get started ASAP as soon as COVID allows. I'm in a state, I'm very calm. I don't know if that's good or if that's bad, but I'm confident that my team is gonna show up and ball, and I'm looking forward to being a part of this and stepping on that field and getting me that ring. That's all
Yeah.
I want to do. I have no more doubts. I just want to get up there and do it.
Yeah, just highlighting that for a second, you're talking about being calm. Look, it's very good for you to be calm at this moment. It's almost like, a couple of days before a big game, because you can actually hype yourself too much. And that really kind of puts a strain on your body, puts a strain on it because it's an additional type of stress. And I got to be honest, sometimes, even in high school games, I would get so jacked up a couple days beforehand that I literally had to go think about something else, go bowling, go watch a movie, just get it out of my head because, it can really drive you crazy. And I can imagine with you, it's even 10 times more so because, again, it's so new.
It is. It is. And
But
although I do live and breathe it right now, I'm at a good place with it. Cause not to sound like braggy or cocky or anything, I'm just in love with my team,
sure.
and I cannot wait to see what these girls will put up on a field when we all get together because we have so much talent. I just want
Yeah.
to do it. It's like a trip you always wanted to take to that amusement park that you always dreamed of going and having the time of your life. That's what I'm feeling. I'm not feeling like pressure. It's not like a test. It's not like a job interview or anything. Is like I'm going to have the best time of my life doing something I love doing with other people that love doing it. And it's going to be amazing. I just want to get there and live it.
You did that on purpose, right? That's just a plug for my home city of Orlando and everybody dreaming of going to Disney or Universal. So come on, I see what you did there. But hey, listen. Before we get into your off season training and preparation, I want to ask you your opinion on a couple of things. A couple of weeks ago, Sarah Fuller for Vanderbilt University made history by becoming the first woman to play in a Power Five conference game. And taking everything else out of it for a moment, what do those words mean to you? And does it inspire you even more, if that's possible, as you prepare for your first season?
Well, what that means, not only to me, but to the world, is that girls can play at the same level as men. Women can play at the same level as men. And hey, D1,
Yeah.
Power Five.
SEC. I mean,
Hey, great team, great girl. Okay, there were like all those situations that got her into that position and she got lucky. But I like to say that luck is just when you get the moment and the preparation together.
yeah,
Because if she wasn't good enough, she wasn't going to be able to play. So she's good enough. And
yeah. And that brings up to the next point, because again, playing devil's advocate here for a moment, while there was a lot of positive thoughts surrounding this moment, there was also a huge wave of negativity surrounding. In fact, she's addressed it a couple of times. I don't know if you've seen some of her comments, but what she actually did on the field, because her first kick, which appeared to be a squib kick, did not win her many fans. Now, do you think her performance affects this particular moment in any way? And I ask this because it's one thing if she's out there blasting 60-yard field goals, but it's another, when you're kicking a 20-yard squib and it's not really a big thing in a lot of people's eyes. So, what's your take on that?
first of all, I think that whoever doesn't think a squib kick is a huge deal never actually tried to kick a
Yeah,
squib kick in their life, because it has to be just right, just at the right place, just at the right time, just the right amount of strength. And a football just has a life of its own. So, first of all, squib kicks are hard.
hmm,
Second of all, to the haters, again, I don't think they've ever played a sport of any kind,
right,
because if she did, that kick was because her coach told her to.
right,
And once you play a sport, your coach tells you what the play is, you execute what your coach told you. Now, you're not happy watching it, too bad. It was not her call. She
right.
had a job. She was told what to do and she did it, and she did it nicely. Her job is done. Stop hating and go
Yeah.
try to kick a squib kick, because that's what they need to do.
That's exactly what she said. She came out with a quote a couple days later. I think she was talking to CBS when she said, "Hey, look, if you don't like it, don't watch it." The bottom line is, I was out there doing my thing, and basically, she was giving them the finger, and I give her props for that because she addressed it head on and said, "Hey, look, I'm out here, you're not, so it's what it is." So that was really cool. But, going back to that point just for a second, Carly Lloyd, the former USA Women's Soccer Player of the Year, was at the Philadelphia Eagles practice last year, and she was filmed blasting, 50-yard field goals in sequence. And the naysayers, when it comes to women's professional football, say it's weak, they have no strength, it's powder puff, blah, blah, blah. And as a professional women's player now, do you or your teammates feel additional pressure to perform at a high level? And do you think this will be critical to your success in the first year to kind of show everybody that, hey, this thing is for real and we handle our business?
Well, first, I just want to say one more thing about the haters. And I think who said this was LeBron James. He said something like, if they're hating from the bleachers, that only means they're not playing on the court.
Exactly.
So that's something to chew on a little bit. And about girls not being strong enough, I doubt any dude that says girls aren't strong enough to go against my O-line. Because my girls are fierce. And I dare them to go against my D-line. Because those girls are even more of a badass. Because, come on, defense rules. And, hey, about the pressure, I think there's an overall understanding that this is the first time ever that women are going to be paid to play American football.
Right.
So we do have that pressure we put on ourselves to put on a group performance, a good show, and a good game. But that's just because that's just something we always did, because we did it out of love for the game. We played because we liked it.
Right.
We played because we wanted to play. And now there are going to be tons of people watching us. We do have that same pressure to put on the best we can, but I don't think it's going to be the greatest show on turf, as your
Big
next
Mike.
guest will talk. Yeah, will tell you about.
Right.
That's a shout out to Mike. Yes. But it's a learning curve, and it's a preparation curve. None of these girls actually had football as a job. They
Right.
had to do all their other stuff. They had to work, they had to study, that was their life. Football was a hobby. We're
Right.
getting that professional note now.
Yeah.
So I don't believe this first year is going to be amazing, but it's going to be dope.
Well,
We're going to win our crowds in different ways. And in about 2 or 3 years, when it actually gets going, when our bodies are professional athlete bodies, when we can put on the time and the money into it,
sure.
we're coming for you.
You know, and I'm just going to add a quick note to this before we get to the next question. Look, I've interviewed a lot of the players in the league, a few of the coaches, a few of the team presidents, even the CEO. And I got to tell you, by doing this, I've seen a lot of the highlight videos, even for people that, you know, we haven't interviewed yet and so on and so forth. And these girls can flat out ball. I mean, so, you know, kind of highlighting, you know, the fact that this is a weak league or whatever. I've seen, as a coach and a former player, some of these girls can flat out just, I mean, they're kamikazes, man. I mean, I you know, I don't know if it's, you know, from a lack of, you know,
we can take pain.
Recognition.
Girls can take more pain than dudes.
I'm telling you, I've seen girls go like straight on heat sinking missiles, man, and with like no regard for their own bodies. And the collisions, some of them are ridiculous. And some of the quarterbacks, man, I'm having a girl come on next week. I think she's going to be playing for the Amazons. I'm not going to mention her name yet, but this girl has got a flat out cannon. I mean, she was dropping 50-yard bullets like it was nothing. And I had to contact her on Instagram
Alicia,
the other day. She's in
Ashley.
Cuyaba. No. I don't have her name right in front of me. That's why. So, and I haven't even asked
she's
her
Brazilian.
yet. Yeah, she's Brazilian. On top of it, you know, I mean, come on. And she's dropping straight up dimes. But I haven't even asked her yet, so I can't say it, but we're going to get her on. But let me tell you, wow. But, you know, going back to Loopy for a second, the CEO of the league, Loopy Rose, has set this league up to have a serious impact from day one. You know, you got 6 stadium sites already booked and ready to go, cash centers, big name sponsors. I mean, the list is long for all the things she's already done to lay the groundwork for the league and your launch up in May 2021. So how excited, take out the team for for a moment, but how excited are you to know that you're not only going to be the first women's professional league that's paying their players and stuff like that, but it's going to be solid. It's not going to be like even in the men's leagues with the World League, the XFL, the other BS leagues that have been out there. This one's going to be around for at least a decade. So does that add to your excitement, knowing that you guys aren't going to fail and you're going to be around? So now it's all about concentrating on just balling out.
It is. So what Loopy did is to build a whole system and a whole ecosystem that self-sustains itself. It feeds itself. Everything from all kinds of companies, all kinds of mediums working together to make the WFLA get started, get going. When you see everything that's planned with your own eyes, when you actually step on any of the plans, any of the fields, any of the stadiums that the WFLA has planned, you're going to be able to actually see the monumental proportions with what's being built. And it's not only as the WFLA is actually going to HBCU and getting a youth football program for women to play, to be able to farm them and go to the WFLA. As I was saying before, it's a curve. We're going to start building the girls too, to put it into the WFLA, and it's going to be a whole empire. And as you were saying before, just to touch on that, when you say that there are some girls that can ball, just in my team, my gorgeous Phoenix Red Tails Tails Up, we have a girl that's a D-line. She has Brady fingers. You know what Brady fingers are? She has a ring on each one of them.
She got 6 rings?
It gets intercepted. Kidding? No.
Ouch. Come on, man. You're a Tampa fan.
I know what he does.
Your team president is a big fan of the Bucks too, man. I hope you didn't hear that. Come on now.
I don't mind. Hey, come on. He did what he did every single game. When he stops throwing them, I'll stop throwing them. So, okay. But she has Brady fingers. She has like 5 championship rings. 2 of the girls from England, Sydney Green and Gabby Knox, they just won the Sweden National Championship, undefeated. They just balled up on every game. There's no question of their skill level or anything. They're just amazing. I'm super proud of my team. And yes, we do have some ballers. We have girls from Army. We have a girl from Australia. She was in the Army. She lifts. She can beat you up. Hey. She's a strong ass lady. And
anybody can right now, man. These last 3 weeks, man, I've gone from not even being able to go to the gym. It's been hell with this COVID, but no, that's awesome.
You have to take good care of yourself.
Yeah, you guys.
And about what Loopy's doing is just an empire. It's something that's going to bring women closer to sports. It's going to help to close that gap in between what girls can and cannot do. And you know what? There's something that always grinds my gears when someone comes to a little girl and say, you can be anything that you want. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I'm like, why would she even think that she couldn't be anything? Now you just put that in her head, saying, allowing her to be anything. She knows that. You're just putting that. What we're doing is just, what the league is doing is just putting a different, it's giving it the option. Yo, if you play football, you can get a scholarship. No girl has ever heard that one. Like, okay, soccer, volleyball, basketball, but football for a lady,
Yeah.
it's not
That's
just
big
saying
time.
you can be whatever. It's here's a chance. Do you want it? Is this what you want to be? Because there's that option.
Yeah. I hear you, man. It's a momentous occasion. I mean, it's going to break down even more barriers and build that pipeline. In the college ranks is going to be a big plus for the league as well. So, talking about the season now next year, it's going to be a little bit different because you're not going to be accustomed to the season length, the schedule. It's going to be a little bit different than what been used to down here in Brazil. So, conditioning wise, how are you preparing yourself? Is this going to be a much more intense slate of games for you?
It is. So for those of you that don't know, here in Brazil, the women's season is super short. We have a very limited amount of teams. We have 10 teams. So for me in Brasilia, we have closest team is like 800 miles away from us.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to do like those little off-season games just to like see how it's going. But and when the national championship actually happens, we have like 4 to 5 games
Right.
tops.
Right.
If you make it to the final, and they're like once a month.
Yeah. It's the same with the
So,
men's. Yeah. It's a joke.
oh no,
Unfortunately.
I don't know about Joinville Gladiators, but my boys play once every 15 days.
Yeah, it was like once every 15 to 21 days, but it's not a big slate of games. I mean,
Yeah,
compared to
but
what
for the
the
men's, we still
US.
have the local championship, the state championships.
No, that's what
For
I'm
the girls,
talking
we
about.
don't.
We have the
They only
we have the
happen in the south, so they
yeah,
have like an extra 2 or 3 games a year.
yeah, we
So
had the
what I'm
state.
doing, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay. We have the same thing. We have the state, and then you have the national, the BFA, which is like starts in August. Which is you're guaranteed 3 games, and then whoever advances, you keep going. So, but regardless, it's not even comparable to the USA as far not even with high school. I mean, high school alone, you're playing 10 games. So, I mean, here we got a long way to go in that respect. But yeah, go ahead.
We do. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to do everything I can, like conditioning wise, like running, uh, EDDs, things like that, at noon under the sun, staying there, doing everything I have to get done under the most horrific conditions I can possibly fathom, because I'm going to Arizona, which is, for those of you that don't know, in the middle of a desert.
Yeah.
And it's super hot and it's super dry, super fun, gorgeous place, lots of hills, lots of mountains, lots of lakes, lots of heat, lots of snakes. And that
Yep.
rhymed, and that wasn't on purpose. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But but it's super hot and super dry. So I'm trying to put my body into a shape that it's used to those extreme, how can I put, conditions. And as for the games, I just give my everything every practice.
Sure.
I'm at the gym like 2.5, 3 hours a day, and I always do 100%. I don't cheat my reps. I don't put down my weights. I do it as has to be done. And because if my body can withstand it, at least my mind will be like, no, you got to do it. You know, you can do it. You know, you can handle this. So do it.
Mm. Now, 50% of the game, as we all know, is mental. And the mental preparation as far as, the playbook, calls, watching the other team, getting ideas on different things, formations and stuff, and the overall psychology of the game. have you guys seen a playbook yet for your team? And what does the mental prep look like for you as you get ready for your first season as well?
Football is it's too much of a mind game. It's amazing. People think that getting hit is the hardest, but no, getting up is the hardest. But yeah, um, we do we do Phoenix Red Tails. We do have a full coaching staff, physical preparator, everything just nice and set. We do have our position groups. We do have our guidelines. We having some pop quizzes about this and that.
Hmm.
We do have a playbook, but it's super hard to like put a playbook together when you don't know who you're playing against. And it's not that we don't know who we're playing. We just don't know the teams. We don't
Sure.
know what they will do, what are their strengths. We can't. So our playbooks are very wide right now, just basics, things like that.
Okay.
And we're focusing on the strengths of each player and going based on that. For the mind, so when I maybe touched this a little bit before now, when gyms were closed here in Brazil, I was doing a lot of home workouts and they were exhaustive in the way they were like 400 squats, 200 burpees, 300 push-ups,
Mm.
and 3 pull-ups because that's what I can do at the time. But and my coach at the time said, I don't care how long it takes you to get them done, but this is your workout today. You have to
Sure.
start and you have to finish. You have to get them done.
Nice.
And it was super hard because there were times like my shoulders were giving out, my arms, my triceps, but it's in the mind. You don't have to do it fast. You can do one, take a
Sure.
minute to breathe, and do another. But I had to get it done. I was doing workout. There was one day that I was at it for 5 hours, three
Mm.
exercises.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
That's awesome.
that's when you called me and I was like, I'm working out. I'm I'm dying here. Thank you for this. Thank you for calling. But and that preparates you for when you are in the fourth quarter and they just my position actually and they just changed the tackle, put on a brand new one. The girl is like ready to go, no grass on her jersey. She's just and I still have to do it with the same strength. I still have to do it with the same speed. I still have to do it because
Mm.
that's my job. Fourth quarter, first quarter, I have to do it with the same intensity. And that's in the mind because I know my body's going to be ready because
Sure.
that's what I'm working on right now.
COVID-19 obviously has taken a lot of tools and items away from you guys, all the teams, including the ability to practice in a group, get together and work out at the same place, so on and so forth. So that being said, how has that affected your preparation? And are there any concerns for next season not even taking place?
Well, it's very hard for a defensive lineman not to get contact.
Yeah.
We kind of need it. We kind of need it. We need someone with their arms shooting out and things like that. We need
Sure.
it. And I do miss it a lot for my like leg arm coordination and speed and hips. We do need it a lot. I'm making do with a punching bag at the gym, poor thing. It's
Hmm.
getting a lot of punches in, poor thing.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff.
But it's super different. And although I really do need it, I cannot risk it. It's not something I'm willing to risk my life over it. Because if I do go to a practice and I do get COVID, that is at least a month out of
Yeah.
commission for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get sick, I'm going to get worse, I can get complications, God forbid, and then I have to recover.
Right.
So it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Hey, trust
And
me, I've been
about,
through it.
so you know what I mean? Like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
just not worth it. Not at the moment. I rather sacrifice this now and focus on other things than just to say, hey, let's go whoop each other's butts in the grass for no reason at all, just because I need it. And then I get COVID, and then it's all down the drain for nothing.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
not like to work for nothing. So I'm not doing it. And about the season not happening, well, England just started vaccinating people on COVID. Sao
Mm-hmm.
Paulo is here in Brazil is going to start vaccinating people January 25th.
25th. Yeah.
And so I'm not really concerned about it not happening. It's just a matter of when,
Yeah.
more than an if it happens. It's just more of a when it happens. So if it does get pushed back because of COVID, that's just more time for me to get prepared. That's just more time for me to get in the zone, for me to learn my plays, for me to meet my teammates, get bonding with them. That's just more preparation time,
Yeah.
which makes it worse for every other team because my team rocks.
Well, listen, I really appreciate
Again,
you.
it's mind game. So trash talking is part of it. And if I said it to Ja Rule, I'll say it to anyone. Red Tails
Yeah.
are gonna win that ring, baby.
Yeah. Hey, I'm all about trash talking. Believe me, I talk my fair share amount, and I encourage it. Some coaches don't like it, but if you're going to talk, you need to back it up. That's the big thing. So, but listen, I'm really excited and really appreciative that you took the time out again, to come back on. We're going to let you go in just a second. I'm going to put you through the rapid fire section and get you out of here, especially there on the beach. You got better things to do. So hold on. Let's
Gotta
see.
eat.
Your favorite shoe brand?
Nikes.
Nikes. Defensive end, linebacker you admire the most in the NFL?
I like myself some hybrids like Von Miller, J.J. Watt, and I really, 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 really admire dudes like Ray Lewis. He's not a hybrid. He's just a linebacker, but the work that he puts in, I think I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. I watched a film of him talking about how people used to say that he used to guess what was going to happen. He would guess. He had mad instincts about what was happening on the field. He could play with his eyes shut. And he said, no, it's not that. It's just that I study every single one of these players for hours and hours. I watched film. I saw them games. I watched their pages. I saw everything I could. I learned everything that I could from this team. I put the work hours in. I went to bed with my body hurting. I woke up with my body in pain, and I did it all again and again and again. I put the work in. So that's how I knew it was going to happen. It was not intuition. It was not luck. It was not psychic abilities. It was work. And I
want to give
that.
a quick shout out to Ray. He's a friend of the family, and he's a great guy. His son actually won the state championship at my high school a couple of years back. He actually gave a talk to the team when they were in the semifinals. So shout out to the Bishop Moore Hornets also in Orlando. But yeah, Ray Lewis is my guy, man. He's a beast. Juice or soda?
Juice.
Favorite Netflix binge?
So last thing I binged was the Queen's Gambit.
Oh, I love that, man. I love that freaking show.
And I did like it. It was your actual recommendation, and I did like it. As I said, I used to practice a whole bunch of sports, and chess was included. I was I was the only girl in my chess club in mid school, so I got that geeky on me too, and I loved it very much. But I don't like to binge TV shows that I haven't watched before because I like to pay attention and I like to really understand what's going on. I like to binge like Friends, How I Met Your Mother. Right now,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
binging this old ass TV show that's called Mad About You with Helen Hunt and Paul Reiser.
Yes.
Just because I like it. It's part of my, I grew up with it. And
Oh my
I know it's
God.
silly, but it's something easy. It doesn't require much thought. I already watched it. I know what happens. I'm not going to be like, it doesn't take that much work. I don't like to binge things that take a lot of work to watch.
Whenever I think of Helen Hunt, I think of Twister. That was like her best movie, man. That was a cool
I
movie.
think of Forehead.
That- yeah, the plastic surgeon's really good, man. So
Shout out Helen Hunt, Oscar winner. Well done.
The Mandalorian or the new Star Wars trilogy with Daisy Ridley?
Well, I haven't watched The Mandalorian, but I know it's a good story. I just got an evil eye of someone that just heard that, but I haven't watched it. But I do know it's a great story because I read about it and I read about like, well, Boba Fett and things like that. So the whole theme, really, I like it. And the new trilogy, I have a very unpopular opinion that if it ain't broke, don't fix it and don't keep it going. I mean, I didn't really see much of a need for it. Instead of surfing the whole girl power wave and getting new fans to the series, I understand it's a cash cow for Disney now, but I don't really see anything that was added to the story. That there was nothing new to it. Only a girl Jedi. Nice. But
Yeah.
okay. So they were going for that demographics. And I think it's good entertainment. It's very well done. Kylo Ren looks like my ex-boyfriend. That is not fun.
Yeah. So
But I'm kidding. I like him. Dude's okay. Shout out. You know who you are. And but if I'm to pick, I'm gonna give The Mandalorian a chance because no, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stay with the trilogy. No, I'm not gonna pick any of those because one was senseless, pointless, and the other one was just to sell baby Yodas. Not. Sorry.
Your father here. All right. So, listen, we're, again, we really appreciate you taking the time to come back on with us, Paula. Definitely, since we're back, we're definitely going to be having other WFLA players and coaches and such on as we count down to the launch of the season. Definitely get some more red tails up in here. And really excited for you. We'll definitely stay in contact. We'll try to get in touch with you again in, sometime when you're in training camp and stuff. If we can pull you aside, that would be awesome to get an update on how things are going there. And wish you the best of luck and can't wait to see what happens next year.
Thank you so much for having me. And, I love being here. I love the company. Not Matt because he doesn't talk to us, but I love all of you. So I'm very happy to be here and I'll be here any chance I can.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And have fun at the beach and we'll talk again soon. All right, so man, we really appreciate it. Like I said, we had some issues with Paula the last time. She's been awesome, coming right back on. It's a lot of work to take away 45 minutes to an hour of your time to spend some time with us and talk about. But as you can see, she's fired up. I'm excited for her team. Phoenix Red Tails really got their crap together, man. I've talked to the team president, Mr. Galloway. I know Miss Box. I know, a lot of those the people in the organization is one of the best organized teams. I haven't even played yet, but I've seen a lot of the things that they're doing. So really excited for the Red Tails next year. I think they're going to do some big things, and for the league in general. I mean, the WFLA is going to kick some major ass, and it'll be fun to see. So we're going to get to our next interview in a few minutes. We're going to take a short break, and get everything hooked up with Michael Gruttadauria here in a minute. And we're going to get him to shine his ring for us, and then we'll get right back on here, probably about 2-3 minutes. So we're going to sign off for a second. We'll be right back on in a few minutes and talk to you soon.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I have all these thoughts when you're talking, Paula, where I want to interject, but I'm trying to be, respectful of your space. Where I want to support what you're saying because, I'm a father of a daughter, and I treat her no different than my sons. And I mean, not even in anything. If they got a whooping, she got a whooping, and I think it helped her in sports and life. And she's in college now, and she had an opportunity to be a D1 athlete, but she wanted to study medicine and she wanted to balance those two things. But I go back to
girls wanting to be doctors. Damn her.
Damn it. That's not from me, by the way. That's from her mom's side. You got to be smart for football, but not doctor smart. But Sean and I played with this guy, Greg Jefferson, who was a specimen
All right, so welcome back to Slack Smack. Thanks for hanging out for a couple minutes. We want to make sure we're all straight for today. And our next guest, he was actually born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. In his younger years, his family moved to Las Vegas, South Jersey, and Fort Lauderdale. We're going to get that right, Mike. I know I messed that up. In LA, yeah. He attended Tarpon Springs High School, where he began to play organized football, and initially accepted a half football scholarship from the University of Central Florida, where he became a 4-year starter, a teammate of mine, and is recognized as the greatest center in school history. Now, in 2004, he was named to the Orlando Sentinels, that's the paper in Orlando, the 25th anniversary University of Central Florida football team. He was also inducted into the UCF Athletics Hall of Fame. He went on to play in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys, the St. Louis Rams, and the Arizona Cardinals. He had his best year as a professional player in 1999 when he started all 16 regular season games in the playoffs for one of the best offenses in the history of the NFL for the St. Louis Rams, known with the moniker of the greatest show on turf, on their way to the Super Bowl victory against the Tennessee Titans, which is known as one of the best and most competitive Super Bowls in history as well. Let's take a quick look at Michael Gruttadauria.
Clark pounding at the 27-yard line. Warner to throw. Going deep downfield, adjusting for it is Isaac Bruce, and Isaac Bruce threads his way for a touchdown. 73 yards.
Of pressure, and Isaac Bruce comes up with a huge play over Denard Walker.
Gets inside him, goes through the maze.
Now that movie continues. Kurt Warner.
From the 27-yard line, McNair surveying. There he goes. Rolling. Turns it upfield. Has the first down. Corralled at the 42. Flag down at the end.
Face mask.
Dre Bly. That'll cost them. 3 receivers set to the right. McNair stepping up.
Uh-oh, you got him, you got him.
Rolling. Needs help. Stays on his feet somehow. Throws. 11-yard line. It's caught. First down. They saved their timeout. They have it here. They stop the clock. Kevin Dyson made the catch. From the 10. Probably the final play of the game. In regulation. It is caught by Dyson. Can he get in? No, he cannot. Mike Jones made the tackle. And the Rams have won the Super Bowl.
Well, 5 planes brought the champs home from Atlanta. The first one arrived just after 11 this morning with a Rams flag outside the cockpit window. A couple dozen people greeted the first plane. On board, Coach Dick Vermeil, players, and their families. They quickly boarded buses and headed to Earth City.
And as you can imagine, traffic has been a nightmare all day. Highway 40 was backed up for miles. Metrolink had to add more trains, but still couldn't handle the people. Live in downtown with more on the Super Parade. Diane?
Thanks, Dave. The parade was actually 8 blocks long, and people were everywhere. It was unbelievable. The parade started about 45 minutes late, but people stayed, and you should have seen this area. Fans packed the parade route like sardines.
And who'd ever thought that the Rams would win the Super Bowl?
Thousands upon thousands turned out.
Come on, baby! Come on!
There were so many people, in order to see, some were forced into trees.
A once-in-a-lifetime experience, I love it.
And as the Rams made their way through the crowd in round trucks, excited fans poured into the streets to get close to their favorite players.
27 years, nothing close to this. It's just too awesome.
Although the parade was chaotic and wild,
Best in the world.
the players were having a super time.
Great, it's awesome. Having a great time.
I'm here to help the Rams celebrate. Go Rams!
Well, Mike, man, it's exciting to have you back on. I appreciate it. I know we went through some stuff last week, but it's really good to have you on again, man.
No, I'm glad to be here. Although I thought I was being punked last week. So you guys are messing with me, trying to get me on, kicking me out, all these technical difficulties, talking to me, and you couldn't hear me, right?
Come on, man. It's old college day prank. Come on.
Come on. It's only around the globe. You can't do this. Elon Musk is about to launch a grain silo.
Yeah,
30,000
exactly.
feet. Although it got scrubbed today. I don't know if you follow that, but he was about to
launch
the Starship today. It got scrubbed.
Yeah, I'm a big freak for that. That's one of the big things I miss here is being able to go out in my backyard. I saw every launch, man, the space shuttle. And
no, I love it. Now my thing is I've been 4 times across the state to go watch Delta IV Heavy, Falcon 9 Rocks. Everyone I've been to, scrubbed.
Oh my God, that's so
I'm not going across the state. I can still see it from here. I can see it from Sarasota, from the other coast of Florida, looking to the East Coast. You can still see it in the night sky.
Yeah,
it's
man. If you ever get it, I don't know if you ever seen.
I want
to
feel it though.
Yeah, if you go to a night launch and you're 3 miles away, the ground.
Maybe they're on the beach.
Yeah, the ground shakes.
I couldn't.
The ground shakes.
And we got a hotel on the beach for a Delta IV Heavy launch, which is like 3 cylinders of rocket fuel. So that would really light up the night sky.
Yeah, it literally looks like it's high noon. I mean, I saw one of the space shuttles go up. I went with my sister one time. It was like 12:30 at night. We drove, from Orlando. It's like 45 minutes.
Yep.
Hung out, and it was amazing. And it's so fast. It only lasts like 5-10 minutes, but after you're just like, holy crap, what did I
as
just
cool
see?
As it would look, I was jonesing. I wanted to feel it. We took the kids to the Kennedy Space Center. You pay a little bit more to be closer and everything.
Yeah.
But I was so bummed. It was, you wait till your chest feels the rumble, those rockets going up. Like, I can't wait. And but I'm done driving across the state now.
You go to the Space Center and you can get really close to pad 39B, and you're just sitting there going, holy crap, man. What happened right here? Yeah, I'm a big nerd for that stuff, man.
It's pad 39A. That was the Apollo mission. It's not 39.
Yeah, there you go, too. Shit. Well, hey, let's get out of our nerddom for a minute. And, just for our, our new viewers are going to be popping on. Let's kind of go through your background a little bit. Take us from, your days at UCF, to being the Super Bowl champ to Arizona. Kind of walk us through your career real quick.
All right. My career is a weird path, mainly because I didn't set out on this path. I didn't start playing football till I was 17 years old, organized football. And I didn't play any organized sport my whole life because we did transverse the United States multiple times throughout my childhood, from Miami to Los Angeles, back to New Jersey, back to Las Vegas, back to Tampa area. So with all that moving around, I didn't have time to get involved in Little League or Pee Wee and stuff like that. So when I finally did get involved, I just gravitated to the sport real quick. And what I lacked in understanding of the game, I made up in just being me, really, being the youngest in my family, being in fights and fighting with my big brothers. So I believe that the coaches liked the tenacity I brought, and I was able to get a starting spot and play well enough to be in. I had one school interested in me, and that was UCF, and I got a half scholarship for one semester. And after they saw that I can do what I was promised to do, I was able to earn a full scholarship. But I was fortunate enough that Gene McDowell, our head coach back in 1990, saw me as a center, because I was a tall, lanky kid with long arms, probably a little too slow for tight end and receiver. And he moved me to center, which I thank him to this day, because I would not have the lifestyle I have right now if I was reluctant to that move. So I was able to start for 4 years there. My roommate, Greg Jefferson, was drafted in the 3rd round by the Philadelphia Eagles, and we did a lot of stuff together, and we tried to go through our college careers with a common goal of playing in the NFL. And he was able to get drafted, and I was proud for him. But that year they had just moved the draft, I believe, from 14 rounds to 7 rounds. So obviously there's a lot less guys getting drafted, and I was being talked to towards the later rounds. But Dallas was one of the teams that was really interested because coming from a small school and starting so late in life, I didn't weigh as much as a typical offensive lineman. I think I finished my senior year at UCF at 250 pounds.
Wow.
Having said that, there's linebackers in the NFL that are 300 pounds.
I was going to say.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, I haven't seen 250 since I was a fetus, man.
Oh, yeah, I believe that. So I was able to go to Dallas, make the practice. I'm going to condense the story. Make the practice squad, get cut, refuse signing again. I signed with the St. Louis Rams because I don't know if you know this, but Don Deke Pollard, who was a defensive line coach at UCF, was coaching for the LA Rams defensive line, and they needed a center. They needed a backup center.
Shit.
And he knew that I was without a job, but I was actually in Orlando, and he made me go to a car dealership. One of the boosters had a car dealership, but he had a scale there. And he made this booster fill me on the scale in the car lot to confirm the weight was that I had said before he put his name on the line to fly me to St. Louis. So I was the weight. I put weight on, and I wound up earning the starting job and creating a career and winning a Super Bowl and signing a nice contract with Arizona and ultimately ending my career in 2004.
Wow, man! Oh, Deke Pollard! I can't forget him, man. Oh my God, that's amazing, man. Was it? It didn't happen to be Salerno, was it? Or is it?
Oh no, it was Manny Messinger.
Manny Messinger. Yeah. God, is he still alive? Is he still around?
He is, and he still has an active role with the team. What I love about that, Sean, is I doubt there's a lot of football programs on a collegiate level in the United States that have one guy that can connect so many different generations of football players.
Oh my God.
And he goes back to
with my
years
brother
before me, to the early 80s. And he's been a part of that team in some capacity, the UCF Knights, multiple coaches, multiple staffs, and always contributing something. But the biggest contribution to me is you are one phone call away from anybody in that program from 1980 to 2020. Call Manny. I need to speak to so-and-so.
Wow. Yeah, I know him well. I mean, he him and my dad and Darren, I mean, my God, wow, that's amazing. He's got to be, what, 80? He's something.
Not quite. I think he's probably early 70s now, but a very athletic guy. He's not a kind of guy that's sitting at home. He's always out and about, very active. So he's 70 for him, and he comes from good genes too. He's probably like a 55, 60 for normal people.
Wow, that's really cool. That's awesome. Now, you and I played back when football practices could be brutal. We talked a little bit about before, but we had 3 practices a day, especially during Hell Week, and then many times we had them twice a day. Can you kind of talk about your individual preparation for the college season, as far as like in the weight room, your conditioning, so on and so forth, especially being that you were kind of new to the game? I mean, you didn't start out, like I said, until you were 17 years old. So what was your program like individually?
Well, it's a good question, because my son, who's now a freshman in high school, and I'm volunteer coaching with him, he's already benching now at 14 what I graduated high school benching.
You got to be kidding. Wow.
But also he has great coaching. Come on, he has great coaching. But for me, I just try to follow the group. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to be doing. It was a new environment for me, a lot of new social dealings, who you talk to, who you don't talk to, how do these things work. I just feel I at least at that point in my life, early in high school, early in college, follow the group. But when I was lifting, I would just try to emulate who I thought everyone thought was the best guy. And for me, that was Greg Jefferson. And what was great for me is we wound up gravitating towards each other and being roommates, because we're obsessive compulsively neat guys. It doesn't look like by my desk right now, but we wanted a clean room, and we would, we had in our closet, there were cleaning supplies. A lot of guys had that. We'd clean our room, but so we gravitated toward each other, and I allowed his goals. I remember asking this when I first came to UCF. Hey man, these Florida State guys or these Gator people get all the publicity. Why don't we play these guys? Like, they're not even the same division. I'm like, what's the division? What do you mean? Explain that to me. I was completely naive to how the different conferences and divisions and classes, all that worked.
Wow.
So playing in the NFL was the farthest goal from my mind. I played 1 year high school football. You want to play college? Yeah, sure. That sounds fun. Let's go do it. But then when I started learning about Greg and his goal was to play in the NFL, I adapted and adopted some of his goals for my own. Now, it was a far, longer trek for a guy like me than it was for Greg. But I think Greg to this day that if I didn't have him as a roommate, once again, I would not have the lifestyle I have today. He kept me on the straight and narrow. I think we probably kept each other on the straight and narrow, but he allowed me to, I don't want to say ride his coattails, because I didn't ride his coattails. And he's a defensive lineman and an offensive lineman. In a lot of cases, we were pissed off at each other. We were very competitive from playing video games in the room. Now we're already pissed going to practice. And then, now he played defensive end. He's going to come and go on the nose. And so very competitive guys. But, I'm just blessed that God put me in a position to have the right people around me at the right time to create this path for me, because it wasn't my path. But I know your question asked me about working out, and I'm finally going to get to that. I'm coming to how the workout.
No, it's awesome.
So in the beginning, I was just following everybody. Who's the best guy? Do what that guy's doing. That's fine.
Sure.
And then when I started, learning from Greg and other guys that were on the team that had a background in working out, there was a guy that was a power lifter on an amateur level we had as a defensive lineman who trained me how to properly work out for strength. Then you start realizing you don't just go in there to push weight. You got to go in there with specific intentions for specific muscle groups. And it's not just lift. In some cases, I was amazed that some of these power lifters only lift one muscle group a week.
Wow.
And it's just one lift. We're going to do a bench lockouts for 5 sets of 5. And that's it this week. That's it. But the gains you make with a specific plan from people that are knowledgeable in that arena is outstanding. And that's the difference for me, is I went from just being a kid that just followed to a kid that had specific goals with muscle groups to achieve better strength and size and mass towards the end of my college career.
Yeah, that's interesting. When I first started in high school, I got a lot from my brother, because he had a rigorous campaign even as a quarterback, as far as working out and stuff. And then he was really close with our former offensive coordinator, Mike Kruzek. And once I got there and, we were playing there, Kruzek, man, he was in the gym at 5 a.m. with the, he had the super tight shorts on and had the oil going, and you remember it back in the day.
Of course,
But
I mean, see a guy like that, when I think we were also blessed to have a Super Bowl champion quarterback coach and the guy that still looked like he can go play football if he wanted to.
Yeah,
he's a completely ripped guy where, to look up to someone like that you see that, wait, this guy, back then we're 18 and 19, and he's probably 45. This old man's in here busting his butt looking like this. Of course, we got to do it too,
Yeah. No, I believe me, it was me and Chris Tabscott, man. I mean, we would go in there at 5 a.m. He's already been in there, and he'd be like, "Good afternoon." And it's like, oh shit, and then he'd be doing his thing. But one of the things that, and I'm curious, did you take with you in the NFL is he really stressed plyometrics, which, for me, I didn't even know what the hell that was, when I first started out. And he's like, well, no, come outside. And I don't know if you remember, but we had like a little porch area outside of the weight room there. And they had boxes set up, and then you're just jumping on top of the boxes. I'm like, really? I mean, working on specific things as far as explosion and stuff like that. So, when you got into the NFL, obviously, your training becomes even more fine-tuned and more intense. It's your livelihood. So how did your off-season preparation change from college as you were developing it to once you got into the pros?
Well, in honesty, it didn't change. My off-season didn't change. I was the kind of guy where I didn't want to be any earlier than I needed to be, because I wanted to maximize my sleep or my time. And when practice was over, I was out. When the last game of the season came and went, I was gone. And that's just the way it was for me in college and in the NFL. Until you start seeing someone, you get to work, you get there early one day, which maybe is an hour early, but there's 15 guys, 20 guys already there. Maybe I'll come in an hour and 20 minutes or see how that looks. Well, there's 10 to 12 guys. Let me come in an hour. Now it's like just, well, you want to see what's going on.
Sure.
In some cases, you'll get to work at 5 in the morning. There's two guys there already warming up, but they're the oldest guys that have played 15 years in the league that still look like Apollo Creed or Rocky Balboa, battling injuries, but are playing 16 games a season. But they, once again, I watch the guys that are perceived the best, and let me start emulating them. So every year that I'd go into the NFL, every year that I would finish and go into the next year in the NFL, I'd always do a little more off season, get there earlier, stay later, until that's why, one of my best years was that 1999 year with the St. Louis Rams. It's just because we had such a great group of guys where no one wanted to leave the facility. Everyone wanted to be there early. If there was nothing going on, we exhausted all the film, we'd still stay and play cards or go lift or do something where, and I know that doesn't really relate to the weightlifting aspect of it, but it does. But it relates to it. If you're not at the facility bonding with those guys, no matter what the arena is, you're bonding, whether it's film, weight study, field work, even playing catch or bringing the kids to run in the grass. That relates into a championship team, having that team camaraderie.
That's such a good point. Here in Brazil, we don't get the luxury of practicing or bonding that much. In fact, usually 2, maybe 3 times a week, we can get on the practice field, and it's not even sometimes with the full team because of just the way things work out here. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done by them individually. What are some things that you might tell the athletes here? And we have over 250 teams and over 10,000 players right now here in Brazil, male and female. And what would you tell them individually, to do in general to kind of start getting ready? Because our season begins here more or less in April of next year.
Well, fundamentally, football preparation is different. Let's even take the COVID thing out of the equation right now.
Right.
So that presents its own problems, but I think the solution is the same for the current structure of practices, even with or without COVID, where the athlete in today needs to take control of their own destiny. You can't wait for the coach to give you the workouts. Here you go. When you're done with this, you have mandatory plyometrics over here, or mandatory conditioning out in the field. It's up to the athlete now to make sure they're ready. Where when I was playing ball, or when we were playing ball, there was a weightlifting coach, a conditioning coach, a strength coach that would give you your blue workout sheet for the day, and you check mark all the boxes, get your stuff in, hand it back in. And even back then, like I said, as the years went on, I'd do that on my own, but it's even more responsibility for the athlete of today. And Jim Hanifin, God rest his soul, just passed away 2 weeks ago. One of the best coaches, just one of the best coaches I ever had in the NFL. We were talking about how the Rams used to also practice with Dick Vermeil 3 times a day, 2.5 hour practices, full pads, just going out at 9-on-7 inside, 1-on-1 run, 1-on-1 pass. Just he wanted to weed out the guys he didn't want there, and he had to really put it on all these players to get all the bad eggs out. But Jim Hanifin is a big proponent of that. He says that nothing prepares you better for the season than all those practices, all that banging, getting your body used to having the pain and working through the pain. Where now, with very limited practices in a preseason and limited contact during the season, you're putting the athlete in a position where they're more susceptible to injury in the game. So they're not exposing to their body of that level at enough rate to be able to perform at the highest level injury free on game day. So I'll echo what I said before, but more to the point is athletes of today need to take it into their own hands to make sure they're getting enough of high level work, not just going jogging a mile. You need to sprint up the side of a mountain and do somersaults down the mountain, and then get your kid on your back and take him up the mountain, then have him throw rocks at you down the mountain. And I'm just saying it needs to be high level stuff. I'm just trying to be funny, but it can't just be like, I jogged a mile and I did some curls and I didn't have to today, but that's not going to cut it.
Right.
And I tell the kids that I coach now in high school, there's a kid just like you. Absolutely. 100% just like you, but he's working way harder than you. Way harder. I guarantee it. And I don't care if it's the hardest working kid on my team. There's a kid just like him that's working harder than he's working. 100%.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's one of the things I tell my team here that I coach in Joinville, and they, look, if it's like sometimes we'll have practice, and because it rains a lot in Joinville, it rains a crap load. It's like 90% like every day, but one of the things I tell them is like, because it's tough to practice in the rain, but it's fun too, especially as a lineman. But one of the things I tell them is say, hey, look, it's raining in Gaspar, it's raining in Timbo, it's raining in Bruton. These are other teams, other cities where they're at. So they have to know that everybody, if you're not doing the work, somebody else is, and that's one of the lessons that these guys need to learn. But that being said, I'm one of only maybe 2 American head coaches here out of all the teams that are here. And sometimes it's difficult to make players understand the importance of the off-season training and studying, because again, it's not the national sport. I mean, we're about 15 years in here. Soccer is the big deal, but you as a Super Bowl champ, and we're going to see that ring later on. Don't worry, don't pull it out yet, but you obviously carry a little more weight than I do. So the question is, why is it important to prepare physically and mentally for the upcoming season?
Well, it's funny you ask you that question. I'm actually typing out. We're doing end of season evaluations for the high school team where I coach at. And we just got knocked out of the playoffs. 8A, which is one of the bigger classes in Florida football. It goes 1A.
Where are you at? Where are you coaching at?
Riverview High School in Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, Sarasota Riverview. Shit.
Yeah, they're a powerhouse. But we just we finished the season 9-2. Our one loss, obviously we lost the last game in the playoffs. They just got beat, but our one loss during the season, we lost 4 starters the day before the game to COVID and COVID tracing. One was the center and guard. We had a kid that never played before on JV had to come up and fumbled. It was just disgusting.
Right.
But we just lost in the playoffs. We were up 14-3 in the first quarter. And the kids started getting all excited and happy and this and hey, no, it's a long game focus. Their offense comes out, has a nice drive down the field. They earned that score.
Right.
14-10. Offense goes 3 and out. Their offense comes back up and gets a 3rd and 22, like on their own 45, winds up hitting receiver, got behind our DBs. Kid catches the ball, touches it, starts running 10, 9, 7, 5. Our DB tackles him. The guy fumbles the ball. Our DB pops up and starts getting mad at himself for giving up a long pass. Doesn't realize the ball's fumbled.
Oh, my God.
That kid turns around, jumps on the ball. They wind up scoring on the next play.
Oh.
The whole sideline was defeated. Keep in mind, it's only 5 minutes into the second quarter.
Yeah,
and that was a lucky bomb on a 3rd and long.
Oh.
But I'm looking around. I'm like, I've never had to play psychologist, psychiatrist, and not coach on a sideline more in my life. And because I want to say and I would say this to my own team, my own head coach. The one thing, we had talent. Every team has talent. But when you get that deep in the playoffs, you made it to the regional finals. When you get that deep in the playoffs, it's the team that has the more mental strength. Yeah. Not being mad at yourself after giving a long play. Playing to the echo of the whistle. That was always my moniker. I don't play to the whistle. I play to the faint echo of it. And back then, if you were standing around the pile, Sean, I would knock the S out of you.
Yeah, man.
Before it was illegal. Because the whistle didn't blow. And I hit people on the field. That's what I do. But you don't develop that mental strength in week 9, 10, 11. You got to develop that mental strength in the preseason by putting yourself in those positions to be super tired, but push to make those gains. To have someone spotting you on those reps, because you can get 8 on your own, but you don't make gains doing the 8 on your own. You make the gains pushing through 9, 10, 11, and 12 while the spotter is just helping you enough to get it up. That's where you develop that mental strength. Doing the film study when knowing what is, and I think players today need to be taught what film study is. Film study is not film watching, it's film studying, it's film taking notes. Anyone can watch film. My mother, she's 85 years old, she could watch film. No, you got to take notes on things you see, or else it's just useless. And that's where you develop that mental strength. And if you're going to make it deep in the playoffs, like I said before, everyone's got talent. It's the players that have the more mental strength on whichever sideline it is, the team that's going to take that W.
You bring up a very good point. In fact, I was just going to get into that, talking about film watching. Obviously, like at UCF, I can remember Gunny getting on our ass. We'd have 3 practices a day and watch film after every one, and you get a plus, you get a minus. Same thing after the games. We'd come in the Sunday after a game, and we'd have to go through the entire film. Hey, what the hell did you do here? What'd you do here? But what are the benefits at both levels, for you watching and studying film, not only of practice, but obviously the games and in preparation for a game? What are some things that you kind of glean from that?
I think before you can have adequate film study, you need to truly understand and comprehend your own playbook and what every play or what every defensive front or defensive blitz stunt game is trying to do. Because if you don't know what you're supposed to do, you're not going to know how to implement that versus what you see by your. And I was a victim of that as well. Like I said, I went to UCF, which is a great school, but back then it was a 1AA school, kind of just starting out to finding out who we were. So, and while, Coach Lounsner was a great coach, an SEC line coach, I didn't fully understand what it was to be a pro level offensive lineman. And I wound up starting, not because I was smart, just because I was mean and I'd fight. And I took every bad thing that happened just to heart. And I took everything personal. I think the coaches like that. So I got a starting job, but I slowly lost my starting job because there was things that they just assumed I would understand by watching film or studying film that I wasn't doing, because I didn't know how to study film. I would watch it. I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, okay, I watched it. I didn't understand I had to study it. So the best thing that ever happened to me was losing my starting job. And I lost it, Sean, to the most ugly, disgusting, fat body, gross offensive lineman you've ever seen in your life. The most non-athletic looking guy that was such a slap in the face to a guy like myself. So, I was livid. And it probably took me a good couple of days before I could even get over looking in that kid's direction. Not because he took my job, but everybody else had to look at me, a good athlete. I wasn't a fat offensive lineman. I was kind of a muscular offensive lineman. That this disgusting, gross body beat me out. But I realized that he didn't beat me out on athletic ability. He beat me out because he was smart. This cat would watch so much film and take pages of notes, copious notes, on the most minor detail that I would even think to look for, no less, write down. And with that information and his understanding of our offense, he was able to put himself in the best possible position to do the least. And if you're doing the least, you look the best.
Yeah.
He'd pull the protection to his side, so he'd have to block the best guy on the defensive line, pull help or switch the slide, or say, I thought I saw a blitz from the other side. So I'm like, I guess you could say that. But I realized that, he was playing the game within the game because he was smart enough to understand our playbook and then how to manipulate that. I use manipulate kind of strategically there. Sure. He's still operating within the bounds of the offense, and he wouldn't be playing if he did anything that the offensive coordinator didn't want. But he was able to make moves and calls that he could reinforce with data that he saw on the field, backed up by film that he can grab his notes for, and that changed my game. It really did. That brought me from probably there's 32 centers from the bottom 16 to the top 16, if not top 10. And that's the difference. And I don't think a lot of kids today fully understand what film study is. And there should probably be more YouTube videos. And hey, this is for you, Coach Slack, more videos fully explaining what film study is and how to properly watch them and what you need to write on your paper. Why do you write that? I remember, I think it was, I'm going to say my second year in the NFL, maybe my third year. But back then, the San Francisco 49ers were the powerhouse of the NFL. Steve Young, quarterback, Super Bowl after Super Bowl or NFC championship. And their D tackles were Dana Stubblefield and Bryant Young, both Pro Bowlers, both beasts. Man. And from after studying this other lineman, whose name I won't say, I studied years of Stubblefield and Young. And I found something that Bryant Young does. And I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of it. Sure. When he'd be in a shade on the center, and this is from film study. I would never picked it up if I didn't go back years and find this. Sure. And it's not all the time, but it was enough where it gave me an edge. Yeah. Almost like finding a tell in the game of poker. Yeah. Exactly. Where when he was on the shade on the center, and only when he cocked, which means when you're not straight over, you're not straight in the gap. 45 degrees. If he took his back foot and twisted it, he was going to shoot the gap. That A gap he was shaded to. But if he tapped his close foot, he cross-faced.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I knew what that cat was going to do before he even knew he was doing it.
Wow.
You know? And it's little, and I can give you like instances like that throughout my career, but that was the first one where all of a sudden here's a Pro Bowler versus an undrafted kid that's, got 2 years of starting under his belt. This kid's Brian has got 4 Super Bowls, 6 Pro Bowls, and now I'm holding my own. Now I'm fighting this guy.
Yeah, you had your John Lynch moment, man. It's like when the Bucks won the Super Bowl. I don't know if you've seen the video, but he says, "Hey," because Coach Gruden coached the Raiders the year before, and they're like, "Man, it was a sluggo seam. I called it even before it happened." That must have been for you. You must have went back to the sideline like, "Holy crap, it worked."
Oh yeah.
That must have been a big moment for you to be like,
well, I knew it was going to work because the data was there. I didn't just go back one. I went back years before that, before it was even me on film. I went back 2 centers before me, back into the early 90s with this kid. Wow. So and that's film study. To find a tell on your opponent that you could take advantage of. And by the way, I kept that close to the vest. I didn't share that with anybody. That's mine.
That is awesome, though. Speaking of routines, in college, did you have any specific routines or things that you used to do to prepare for games mentally? In other words, did you have any superstitions? Did you have a favorite pair of socks or particular music? No.
And I think, in all honesty, my routine or superstition was to make sure I didn't have a routine or superstition. Because if you do feel you need a routine or a lucky socks, then you're relying on something you can't control. All I needed was me. That was it. I wanted me. And if I found myself doing the same thing, I would stop doing it. Because I didn't want to say, I taped this finger first the last 3 times, and now I didn't, so now I'm going to lose. No, that's not mental strength. If I'm here, I'm going to be all right. And if I found myself doing things over and over again, I would purposely not do it the same way the next time. Sorry, man. You probably wanted a better answer than that.
No, that's great. I mean, like I said, that's what we're looking for, And I only got a couple more questions. Don't worry. We won't keep you too much longer.
I'm not worried. It's only 3 a.m. here.
When we train in the off season, our biggest challenge is finding motivation. And, you touched upon that a little bit, but, doing the hard work when nobody else is watching. And, we had Paula on earlier, and our friends here with the WFLA are in the off season training right now, just like, they're in off season training here down in Brazil, getting ready for the season. What kind of things did you use to kind of motivate yourself to do the work while the spotlight was somewhere else? Because I know, like I said, you touched upon it a little bit and how you wanted to be, that guy, but what are some things that, motivated you?
Well, I hope it doesn't sound superficial, but money in the NFL, I wanted that money. And all my peers, there were some guys that were coming in drafted second round or first round even, and gone after 2 years. And I'm an undrafted starter from year one, making minimum. And I'm not crying poverty, but
sure,
they were kids that didn't play a down in football. And I got 2 years under my belt, making 2 years of minimum, but I've already started, let's say, a total of 15 games over 2 years, but played in 24. This kid just signed for more than I've made in 2 years, hasn't played it down. So,
damn.
I mean, I don't feel bad. I played football. I love the game. But if I made more money playing chess, I'd be Queen's Gambit. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But my motivation was money. But as a coach, I think like anybody, kids or players like to be recognized. So I like to have competitions within the competition. So I like having awards for the best bench press, the best conditioning, the best 12-minute mile, the best 40 of the big guys, offensive, defensive linemen. I'll have explosion drills every now and then. I'll bring these big medicine balls and they got to launch it between their legs. Whoever gets the farthest, average your 10 throws. I'll bring big Hershey bars or something. But I think that establishes motivation for the kids. I mean, they want to win, but you put a prize in front of them, then they're going to try even a little harder. They don't realize they're getting more work and becoming better athletes. That's a little more investment as a coach, and maybe you don't have that kind of capital, but it can be a homemade something. You win the stapler for the week. Best 40-yard dash. Good job, buddy.
No, it's funny you say that. We just instituted a ranking system here with my team. I think we're one of the first teams to do it, to where it's a point system, and it's really gonna, not only from them working out, going to practice, all those kind of things, but like you said, you'd be amazed. We had 3 practices before COVID shut us down until January 10th. But we had 3 practices, and then we were running some kickoff drills, and we were just like, hey, all right, because kickoff drills, they suck. Nobody wants to do them. But we were like, look, whoever gets to this guy, first is going to get an extra 3 or 4 points on their ranking. And it's just a little thing. But if they didn't haul ass, I mean,
I love
they're treating it like it was.
Honestly, I'm going to steal it. I'm going to steal it from you. I like the idea of having player ranking, like how they have Madden rankings.
Yeah, it's
and
exactly
give the kids a ranking, and you can, hey, if you do this and get best, it's going to get an extra 2 points for the week. I think that's a great idea, Sean.
Let me tell you, and it comes from one of my co-head coach. His name is Ursel Raphael. Man, he's a stud, and this is a fantastic idea because it also gives them accountability. Because if they don't do what we need them to do, if they don't go to practice, if they're not doing the workouts, they're going to drop. And hey, when it comes to game week and stuff like that, and your numbers are shit, guess what? You're not going to play. Or you're not going to see the field, or you're going to be on the bench, and there's no ambiguity there. There's no gray area. There's no favorites or whatever. It's there in black and white. So I love it. Like I said, we just rolled it out this month, and man, it's been awesome.
That's excellent. I love it. I absolutely love it, Sean.
Now, one more question. Now, winning the title, obviously, that's a dream. Now you can whip out the ring, man. We got it. Emery, you need to get a picture of this, man, because my last picture it was sucked. Come on, man. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna try and get it too. Hold on. So hold on. Let me get my thing together here. Oh, look at that thing, man. That thing is so cool. Wow. All right, you guys got it? I'm sure they do. Thanks, man.
This was the biggest. When this was made, we had the only female owner, Georgia Frontieri. So at the time, this had the most diamonds, the biggest marquee, one of the most gaudiest rings.
How many diamonds is on that?
It seemed like after this year, every owner wanted to outdo the previous owner. But at the time, this was, oh my God, that's unbelievable. It's too big, blah, blah, blah. Now this is small compared to other ones.
How many diamonds is in it, and how many carats?
134 diamonds for the 34 Super Bowl. 134 diamonds, and then it has a big VBS 1 marquee, colorless, Jesus. And then something else. There's something else impressive, but I forget what it is. Sorry.
It's funny. I actually know what you're talking about because I worked for Zales for one summer.
I'm just saying, there's another stone in it, but I actually forget what it is. Is it an emerald cut white diamond? Maybe it's something like that. I don't know.
Or a
Sean.
marquee cut or whatever.
You know what?
Yeah,
no
man.
one says, hey, nice ring. What kind of diamonds are in it? You know, just Super Bowl. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Whatever. But Jesus, that's so cool.
It is, man.
Now, obviously, when you reach that goal, like you did, you know, in my opinion, you know, the next year is even tougher. And I said this earlier. I was talking to my team because we upgraded some of our rookies today. And one of my dad's favorite phrases was during my career was staying there is harder than getting there. And can you talk about your off season after the Super Bowl? Because, you know, hey, once you win it, you know, obviously you've reached the plateau, you've done everything you set out to do. How hard was it for you to get motivated to get ready for the next season? Or was it hard? I mean, were you just ready to go?
Well, I think I don't think there's one brushstroke where you can paint every athlete's experience post Super Bowl preparation for the next season.
Sure.
In my case, I was a free agent after that year, and I went to Arizona in the desert with the lakes and snakes. And
Paula.
Paula was dropping some
you
rides.
See Paula, yeah, man.
Yeah. But at that point in my career, I established what it took to get to that level. I had one of the best off seasons after the '98 season, where we had a power lifter coach come in, and we had all these cool contests and strongest man on the team, second strongest, awards given. To where I understood how to prepare, and I brought that with me to Arizona. Now, they had certain philosophies that I had to adhere to, the way they wanted to lift, certain lifts they didn't want you doing, different things. You work with them to do what they want to do. But at its foundation, I knew what it took to keep me playing at the level I played.
Sure.
So it wasn't that much of a letdown or hard. Like I said, my motivation, Super Bowls are great, but they pay you for a Super Bowl. That was my motivation. And they paid me to go to Arizona, so I was happy.
Yeah, you know, just real quick, I'm curious because as a center, obviously you're the quarterback of the offensive line. How difficult was the transition to go from, you know, the type of offense that you had that was wide open, you know, multiple looks with the Rams, and then to the Arizona's offense, which is a completely different look? Wasn't it more of a power style?
It was more of a ground and pound. But the only thing I would change there is I like to think that the quarterback is the center of the backfield. But going from that was a joke, by the way, you know.
I got you.
I didn't go.
I was with you. I was I'm agreeing with you.
That's all right. I'll stick to playing. I'll stick to coaching football. No, that was a transition, a real fun, open, wide out offense. I'm not saying that the Arizona offense wasn't fun. It was just different. It was more ground and pound, straight at you, a big fullback from Nebraska. And our tailback was Michael Pittman, who won the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay a couple of years later, big tailback. And we would just run power and gut and bob and weak and strong zone and come back to counter and just keep going between the tackles. So if anything, it was a little more toll on your body, which just proved that you needed to make sure you manage your body and got to work early and stayed to work late. And your conduit for making money is your body. You don't take care of that body, you're not going to be able to put that money in the bank.
Yeah, good point. Awesome, man. And we're going to let you go in just a second. You know, we'll put you in the rapid fire real quick. And then, man, I could talk football with you all damn day. So I know it's probably like 5 o'clock in the morning there already. So, but okay. So tequila or beer?
Corona Light.
Gotcha. Warner or Brady?
You know, that's a tough. Yeah, you got Brady. Warner's a great guy, but Brady's the best quarterback ever to play the game. You know, and I never liked it before that Atlanta game. I was not a Brady fan, but to come back in that Super Bowl versus Atlanta, that was just phenomenal. So I'm a Brady fan.
Yeah, that was crazy. Favorite dessert, even though it's a couple weeks later for Thanksgiving?
Apple pie.
Apple pie. Warm with ice cream. Gotta have it.
Oh, 100%. Is there any actually warm with vanilla bean ice cream?
Ah, yeah, man, all about it. The new Xbox or new PS5?
We're an Xbox family, but we don't have the new one yet. We have the Xbox One S, I think.
Yeah, that's what I have. I'm not gonna. invest in that, man.
Okay, yeah, you can run 4K. There's nothing fundamentally different for me.
It's like buying a new phone, man. They put a new phone out every year. It's like, okay, wow, it's got, a
Another
shade better
camera
memory.
lens. Yeah, just something different, something amazing, and we'll be good.
Exactly. And favorite Al Pacino movie all time?
Oh, I'm supposed to say Godfather, I guess, but the first Pacino movie I saw where I loved him was Serpico. But I like Dog Day.
The cop movie. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Dog Day Afternoon. Well, I'll go Heat. I like Heat.
Oh, I love Heat.
Heat's one of the best movies.
The coffee shop scene with him and De Niro, man, is classic.
Well, that face-off was monumental, but that shoot-off scene after the bank robbery got foiled.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
There was nothing done cinematically like that up to that point. Now it's like My Ring. That's small time, but at that time, that was next level stunt action downtown cinematography.
Yeah, I love Michael Mann. I wish he would do another Miami Vice. I actually love the new Miami Vice with Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell. He was a great director, but man, Heat's a classic. Yeah. Wow. I still wish
you asked for one. I gave you a handful.
I wish he didn't get off the exit, man. Freaking keep going.
I know. You broke
your
rule. You can't break your rule.
I watched the movie again and again. I'm like, just keep going.
Not mentally strong.
Leave him alone, man. What was it? Wayne Grove? Leave him the hell alone, man.
Wayne Grove, that's right.
Hey, listen, man. I really appreciate your time. Glad to hear your wife's doing better. Hope the epidural thing works. And listen, man, stay in touch. We'll definitely touch base again. We'd love to, hopefully in the future get back with the team. We'd love to have a time to, talk to the team like we talked about before. And really appreciate it, man. You've been awesome as always.
My pleasure. I'm here for you whenever you need. Remember, something I forget every now and then, but just keep hitting me up. I'm good. I love being a part of whatever you got going.
Appreciate it, man. Take care. Good to see you again.
I can't wait to follow those Phoenix Red Tails, man. You got me excited about this WF.
Hey.
Reading about Loopy Rose all over. She's from LA.
Yeah.
Marketing, all this kind of stuff. It seems exciting.
Yeah, May 2021 is the kickoff, man. So we're gonna definitely, we had Loopy on the show. We've had a lot of their athletes. We're gonna keep having more as we, do the countdown, and I think it's gonna be awesome. I think they're really gonna have a good season next year.
It would really be unprecedented if she can get that league going, create a good fan following to be the first, I want to say real football league, just for females. That would be outstanding. I would love it. I'd watch it 100%.
Yeah, I really think they have a good shot, man. Like I said, they literally have 6 that she said. Now there could be more, but she's got 6 stadium to be built. Like the contract's done. Like they're going to be built specific for these teams. They're going to have 32 teams. I mean, they're not messing around.
Yeah,
it's really going to be something. I'm sure they're going to end up with a team in Florida. I think unless they have one in Miami, I believe, but they do.
Because I heard the Phoenix Red Tails. Right. I just assumed there's another area in Brazil called Phoenix. Are they based out of Phoenix, USA?
Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's why she was saying this.
Brasilia.
No, this is all in the United States,
Are there
man.
teams also in Brazil? Or
no, they recruited. There's over 20 some odd athletes right now that are playing here in Brazil that got recruited, like Paula, to go play in this league. So you got teams in Atlanta, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Miami, all over the place. I mean, if you go on WFLA.com,
I was just there. Yeah,
they have all their stuff, man. They're not messing around. I mean, she's got cash centers set up. She's doing deals. They got Las Vegas, San Diego. There's a boatload. Atlanta.
I really hope this COVID stuff gets solved and the U.S. politicians stop playing politics with people's lives and get this sports back up and running.
Yeah, enough already. I mean, look, the vaccine's ready to go. Let's get it out there and let's go to work. I mean, we're going to have the vaccine here on the 25th. I don't know how it's going to be in the U.S., but shit, if Brazil can get the vaccine and get our crap together.
Well, I think our first recipient just received it last night. Last night on the news that the first U.S. citizen received the vaccine. So,
and it got good. You know, the one, I think it's the one from Pfizer. They were saying that it's even stronger than they thought. They, after the first dose, I mean, you're in really good shape. So that's really positive because, man, enough of this crap. This year has just been it's just been terrible.
And I want to get back to that's all. I want to get back to normal. That's it.
Yeah.
I want to get back to normal.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I want to stop getting zits on my nose from wearing these masks all over the place, man. Getting blemishes.
Hey, let me tell you, but it's no joke, man. I had it 3 weeks ago. It went through my whole family, and
that's terrible, man.
It really knocks you on your ass. It took my father-in-law. You know, he passed away with it with no health issues, and so yeah, I mean. It does hit you like an overrated flu. I'm not going to lie, but it does kick your ass. I mean, don't get it wrong.
I'm terrible. So I'm sorry, man. I wouldn't even have brought the subject up. I didn't know you lost.
No, hey, no, don't be. It's all part of it. I mean, but I think people need to realize we can't stop living. You know, for something that basically has a 99% survival rate. You just can't.
Well, I said the same thing to my wife the other day because my wife's dad is battling pancreatic cancer. So obviously we are trying to be a little more safe and make better decisions. But I was like, you know, if this was January or February, I have no problem. I wear a white painter suit with a Breaking Bad mask, if I have to. But we know data about this thing. And, having anyone die is terrible. 100%. But you know what? I'm going to stop talking.
No, man. I'm in your
I'd rather talk football and all that garbage. I'm just going to reinforce
corner.
I want to be passes and get back to normal life.
Yeah, but I see your wife a lot on Facebook and stuff. I know where you're coming from, and I agree with you 100%. I think you just can't shut things down to a
Well, I think you could.
Make it political.
Like January, we didn't know what was going on. We had to show it, we kind of understand, if you're like, if I'm okay with it, I should be able to be okay with it with people in my family. I mean, we're grown-ups. We'll take the appropriate steps. So,
right.
But I feel like now we're getting controversial. I want to stop talking.
Or
ask me a Warner question or a Brady question.
Hey, let's talk football though, real quick, because I gotta ask you about my Buccaneers. And then
I'm terrible right now. I'm terrible. I don't know, man. Like right now, ask me any question about Florida high school sports, FHSAA. I have not followed UCF football this year. I've not followed NFL football. I am, like I said, I'm focused. I'm focused on my team and my kids. The outside world does not exist to me.
What happened to my boys? Bishop Moore lost last week, man, to Tampa Gaither in the playoffs.
Yeah. Sorry, brother.
They were doing good, but they got knocked out. But the high school playoffs. Are they doing the finals in Orlando again?
Yeah. Well, the championship,
like the
game.
Semifinal and the final, or just the final?
No, they're doing that at the better record team's home stadium.
Oh, okay.
They're calling it a neutral site, but they're doing it at that team's home. But only the championship game is going to be in Orlando this year.
Okay.
Not the final four, only the final two.
Are you the head coach there now?
No, I'm a volunteer. I do not have a title because I can't be there all the time. When I'm there, I'm glad they give me, roles. I work with the defensive line, and that's a blast. It's a different mentality, but I know my stuff, and it's fun. And I have great kids, and they want to work and they want to learn. So I'm blessed that they allow me to be a part of this team.
What's the mascot for Riverview?
The Rams, brother.
The Rams. There you go. Nice. They gotta get a kick out of that, though, man. It's just like I was telling Paula with Ray Lewis when his son was playing with Bishop Moore. From your background, being obviously a Super Bowl champ and playing at that level, you must command a lot of respect, and they just be like, "Damn, this is pretty damn cool." I'm gonna meet my coaches.
Some of the kids that know football, which is very few, are that way. Some kids have no clue. It took like maybe till November, which is 8 weeks into the season, because so did you play sports? You're pretty good. You know what you're talking about. Did you like play football or a sport or something? Like,
it's funny because
like,
down
I'm
here,
I'm just a science teacher. I was walking by. I thought I could help you guys.
I show some pictures, you know, of me back in the day when I played here or played in Orlando, and you know, they're like, well, damn, you know, what happened? Because obviously, you know, you're looking at two different people basically, and but I can still get it done. Like I still go in the weight room. I'm still throwing up some weight. So weight, that's another big thing here, man. All season training is not big on Brazilians except for the waist down. They're big onto legs, doing the leg press and squats or whatever. I'm like, man, especially offensive linemen, you got to be able to do this. And I'll go over there and throw on a good amount of weight. And they're like, well, shit, I'm 48 years old, you know, but, but it's funny because it's funny how they look at you like, damn, you used to do that, you know. It's like, come on, you know. Real quick, and I'm going to let you go, but I got to ask you if you remember when we played the Moscow Bears.
I do remember. I was talking about that the other day.
The Russian team, and then they came to our dorm. Remember at the Collegiate Village Inn, and Quillian had the big party, and we're drinking. You know, they're drinking vodka like it was water, man. I mean, that was the coolest
what I remember about that, Sean, is that Russian national team came, and all they wanted was American T-shirts and American jeans.
And jeans.
So here's all these underage college kids. I was given jeans. I got these for Christmas. Have that. I'll give you one bottle for this. No, I'll give you one bottle for that and that. I'm like, fine. You know, take this, take that.
Dude, I got a tank commander's pin. And it was like
I just know, like me, Quillian, John Moore, Ruta, we had like a dozen bottles of vodka. I just wonder, like, how many crates of vodka did these guys come to America with in this plane?
Yeah, exactly. That's, I couldn't believe it. And everything was like Stolichnaya. Yeah. And it was hilarious because I mentioned it because, you know, we remember back in the day, we're playing on Sega Genesis. We're playing Madden, whatever. Everybody's in the dorm room playing it. But now, I think about 10 years later, I think it was like 95, 96. No, I think it was 2002 or 3. The NCAA football game came out when they used to have it. And they put a little blurb on there, like when it loads the game, it said in 1991, UCF was the first team to play international. I was like, fuck, we played that.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
That was hilarious. We had, I don't know if you're Michael Jordan. Remember Michael Jordan, the quarterback?
Oh, quarterback,
yeah, man. So anyway, I just thought it was funny because I tell people that story and they're like, get out of here. And I was like, no.
We were kids playing against grown men and former Olympians, but couldn't play a lick of football.
It was, and on the line of scrimmage, it was hilarious because they're all speaking freaking Russian. And you're like, oh, fuck your mother. You know?
I didn't say that.
I did. But hey, man, listen, I really appreciate your time again, and we'll definitely visit again in the future. And you know, best of health and everything to you and your family, and we'll talk.
Same to you, brother. You know,
all right.
Love to your wife and her family. My condolences go out, and good luck to you, Paula, in your preparation for a kick-ass season, girl. I'll be following you. You're my favorite player in the league.
She's going nuts. Thanks, man. Take care.
All right, brother.
All right.
Good night, guys.
All right. Wow, man, let me tell you that it's an amazing experience. Not only, to talk to him with the career that he's had, but, I remember going through hell with that guy. We played together at the University of Central Florida. We had some brutal off seasons with our team. And I'll tell you, training camps and stuff back in the day, you guys have no idea. Even the ones that are playing in high schools and stuff right now in the USA don't know how it used to be. Since they kind of made it a little bit easier, but wow, back in the day, it was rough. But, a guy like that, I'm sure if he wanted to ever get into it, have no problem getting into a head coaching position because he's got so much to offer, knows the game well. And it's such a joy to have him on because, not only because of the weight that he carries, being a Super Bowl champ and, knowing me, no, I'm kidding, but, having the fact that, he's been around the block, he knows the game inside out. And, the experience and stuff, it really lends to, providing a lot of different information and things for people that would normally not know, and that's one of the things that we try to do with this show is share some insight and share some things with people like Paula and like Michael that are involved in the game and can give a different perspective and provide a little more in-depth stuff for you. So you as the viewers out there can get on. It's not just your normal, hey, what do you think about this team and BS interviews. So it's, we're really grateful to have, Paula Chiarotti on again. Like you said, we can't wait to see her kick things off next year. And then of course with Mike, we definitely love having him back on as well. So we're going to try and do this regularly again. We kicked off again, today. Everything seemed to run pretty smooth. We're going to be trying to do this every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Brazil time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Stay tuned to Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. We'll be posting the schedule for our next interviews and stuff that we're going to line up. And we look forward to seeing you again. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We want to give our thanks out to Digital Motion AV up in Birmingham, Alabama, that's pumping this thing out, even it's cold as hell up there. My boy Emery and Matt doing their thing. And even though we hate Alabama down here and we hate the Saints, can't stand them. Taysom Hill, suck it. Did I say that? But, hey, we really appreciate you guys coming on, and we'll talk to you soon. See you again.
Thank you, guys.